Z. We now enter phase 3 of our plan. Judge Jade and Boss Daddy are dead. Mayor Aaron and co-mayor Alexa will inevitably succumb to a lack of oxygen. The Robotomines have been infected with a virus making them inoperable. Queen Diva Marie with her newly found intelligence is going to be an asset for the future of the channel. Her life can be spared. Now all you need to do is eliminate the others.
Hey y'all, welcome to LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Now before we get started, I just remind you to please hit subscribe to become an official resident of LJV and get a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews. Like today's first of a kind review with Collect Major Big Rubber Guys, Series 11, Missy Hyatt and her first ever figure. Now the reason this is a first review of its kind in LumberJillville is there aren't many LJN or LJN inspired women's figures that have been released through the years, right? We go back to the WWF LJN line. They only had Miss Elizabeth. I have not been able to find a Miss Elizabeth in good condition for a good price, so I really don't have much to base this figure off of, but I am super happy that Collect Major has added a female to their line, and I pre-ordered 2 of them. Now, as I mentioned, this is Missy's very first figure, which is very deserving. She was a big personality in WCW over the years, and even though she had a few in-ring matches, if you want to call them that, but she definitely was an important character, an important figure to WCW in its growing stages. So yeah, I'm really excited for her that she got this figure, and I'm excited to review it. But as I mentioned, LJN style figures, which is what the Big Rubber Guys are inspired by, there's not a whole lot of females to compare it to, so I'm going to review it for what it is, and I am going to discuss price. We're going to regroup at the very end, and I'll let you know whether I think the price point is worth it. I ordered 2 of these Missies, and they came out to be $109.99, something like that, with tax, so each one's about $50. So this Missy was about $50, and to me that seems super steep. Super steep. Now, I will say a lot of these smaller toy companies or independent toy companies that are especially making the retros, I feel like the figures are highly overpriced. I don't make figures. I don't produce figures. But I can give you my opinion whether I think the steep price is worth what you actually get. Now, truth being told, I reviewed the Maki Ito Major Bendy, and I was over the moon about that figure. I had nothing but good things to say, so we'll see how I feel about this at the end of the review and see if it's actually worth the price point. Now, I did pre-order a couple Shotsies. Those will be coming to LumberJillville hopefully in the next month or so. I'm super excited for this one. But yeah, I think the biggest question coming in isn't if it's toyetic, if it's quality, but if it's worth the price. So with that being said, let's take a closer look at Missy Hyatt's Big Rubber Guy, starting with the packaging. So starting off with the packaging, I will say this is gorgeous, beautiful packaging. I love how it's original to Collect Major. They did a good job, their design team, of making their product feel like theirs. It's not a rip-off of LJN's, not a rip-off of Hasbro's. Here we go. Collect Major Big Rubber Guys packaging is very unique, and I love that about them. I really do love the color scheme, how we have the purple with the yellow accents. I love the Big Rubber Guys logo in the corner. We have Major in the other corner. We have her name. We have this artwork of Missy Hyatt, which is from a promo photo. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what the attire is from. I couldn't find a night that she actually wore this, but there is a promo in this pose that is wearing this attire. But yeah, and I love the big open window. I mean, this open window is perfect for an autograph. Keep that in mind. I think she does do signings. Now, looking at it from different sides, we get a good side view there, a good side view there. And then look at this on the back of the packaging, which is really cool. And this is very retro inspired, where they have all the previous figures listed on the back. I wish Mattel would do that with their main event figures, with their elites. I love going through this and looking at all the Big Rubber Guys that they've produced so far. And it's really cool looking at them on the back in this large picture. You see all the different variations and styles, all the uniqueness of these figures. Like, I'm really impressed. As as they're coming out, I really didn't follow the line until they announced the Missy because I review and only collect the women. But I have to say, looking at them all in front of me, these are really unique, really, really cool. So shout out to the packaging here. I love that on the back they have these little illustrations of the other figures. So very, very cool there. Now the cardboard is a pretty good thickness, which we don't feel anymore. Anyone that's watched my Mattel Elite reviews, we don't know what thick cardboard is anymore. We've lost that loving feeling. But what's cool about this packaging is you pull back the plastic there, and I think you can just slide the cardboard out. You can. So you can just slide the cardboard out. We have a little blister bubble there. And then you pop the figure out. So this is resealable. You could pose her, put her back in the package, slide her back into this, and then you can slide the cardboard back down. No harm, no foul. So that's really cool that it's resealable packaging. And yeah, this packaging it's gorgeous in my opinion. Alright, y'all, I'm going to be honest. I think this figure is so freaking cool. And I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. Heck, I wasn't even sure when they first announced the pre-order how this figure would fit in my collection. Even though I collect and review all women's wrestling figures, I wasn't sure how this would fit in there. I thought it would stand out. I didn't think it would stand. I didn't think I was going to be that big of a fan, especially considering I don't have any LJN or LJN style women's figures in my collection. But I have to say, I am super freaking excited to add this to LumberJillville. I'm definitely putting this on display because this is truly a unique figure. And like I said, I came into this review not really knowing how I was going to feel once I had it in front of me. But this figure, I mean, it is definitely cool. And the number one thing, not the number one, but an important thing I should say, she stands. How come Mattel and Jazzwares cannot get their figures and heels to stand, but a rubber sculpted figure stands perfectly? I did not think there was any chance this figure would stand, but shout out to the physics department. I don't know if that's D-Freedom or what, but they really did a great job with this sculpt, with this mold, with the proportions to make her able to stand, because I honestly didn't think it was going to happen. So yeah, as you can see, this figure looks great on display. Now let's take a closer look at a couple things, okay? So she does have a removable microphone. Now, please don't go seeking the video where she talks about the removable microphone and what the hand looks like it's doing. Let's just keep the microphone in the hand, but let's take a closer look at it. So it's a pretty basic, simple looking microphone, but it works. I mean, it definitely works. It definitely fits in with the LJN style figures, kind of generic accessories. But yeah, I really do like this microphone. Now, that's really the only accessory she has. Now, another feature of this figure is the removable skirt, and we'll get to that in just one moment. So, as far as the likeness goes, that's going to be something that is up for debate, because here's the thing. These LJN-inspired figures, they're not supposed to be like elite TrueFX face scan technology type faces, right? There's an artistic approach that they take to these figures, and I like it. I like it. I know a lot of people online said, it doesn't look like Missy. It looks horrible. But to me, I think for this style line, for this style figure, I think it works just fine. I think it's actually done really well, and it really does give you that retro look. Now, what really stands out is the hair sculpt. Now, hair sculpts are big in LumberJillville because these women do a lot of work with their hair. They put a lot of love into it, so I always like to review the hair. And this sculpt is very 80s-esque. I mean, you could picture on the hood of Whitesnake's car just singing a tune there. So yeah, great job on the hair sculpt. And like I said, even though it might not look like Missy spot on, I think for the LJN line, this is what her figure would look like, right? I really, really like it. Even though it's cartoony, like I said, it fits in with the overall theme. Now, moving on down to the attire and the sculpt. So yeah, obviously we don't have any movement in this figure. LJN-inspired figures are just kind of one molded piece. There's no arm movement, leg movement, or head movement, but it does bend a little bit. Now, the pose that they went with, I will say, is a great pose. I love how her legs are in a stance and her hips kind of to the side and her arms bent. I just think this pose is great. They didn't have to be this awesome at the pose. And they did. They chose an excellent one, and the execution was great. Now, looking at the top here, we have this baby blue jacket sculpted on. I think it's very good. We have a we'll say cleave. We have some sculpted cleave there in the center. And it almost looks like it's a separate piece. I don't know, the way it's carved. I'm not a huge fan of that gap between the flesh and the jacket, but I think it looks fine. Honestly, not that noticeable. But yeah, I love how the sleeves are rolled up. I love the sculpting work on it. I love on the back of the jacket, there's even some sculpting work. We even have that mid-waist belt sculpted on there. It looks excellent. We have a metallic silver bracelet sculpted around her wrist, and that is a really good metallic paint scheme. As crazy as it sounds, it looks great. Her fingernails are painted, and they're actually painted very intricately. I didn't expect them to be painted that cleanly, but they are. Her watch looks great with that metallic silver and then the black face there. We have this baby blue cloth skirt, which actually matches the top great. Now, I am colorblind, but it looks good. I didn't know if it was going to stand out because it's a different material than the base of the figure, being in rubber, but it looks great. I think it looks excellent, and it is like a quality fabric. It's actually got a little stretch to it, so that's super, super cool. I'm actually looking at this, wishing that Mattel would use, material like this on some of their women's figures. But yeah, cool material. Looks really good there. And then moving on down, we have these high heel shoes in baby blue that are sculpted on great. But the best point about this, it freaking stands as she falls. That's my display, not the figure. It stands great. So let's remove that skirt and see what's underneath. Oh my goodness, that is, yeah, that's a thing. So you can remove the skirt, which, yeah, that's a thing. I will display her with the skirt, but I just think that's cool that you can remove the skirt. Now, she did make a comment talking about what kind of underwear she wears, but I won't get into that. That's a whole nother thing for another day. But yeah, they did a good job with the sculpting underneath, honestly, with the muscle tones and even how it just looks. I just think they did an excellent job there. And then to put the skirt back on, simple. I am actually blown away with this figure, and I did not expect that. And here's one last look at Collect Major Big Rubber Guys Series 11, Missy Hyatt and her debut figure. And yes, even on this turntable, her balance is immaculate. Alright, so this part of the review, I usually give an overall score to the figure, but I don't think that's fair with this figure because I don't have any other LJN or LJN-inspired women's figures to compare it to. I've never reviewed a Big Rubber Guy on the channel, so I'm not going to give it an overall score, but what I'm going to do is give you my opinions based on the quality and the price point, whether I think it's worth it, and just what I think about this figure. Now, with that being said, this figure honestly blew me away, and I did not think I was going to have that reaction. Now, obviously, when they posted it for pre-order, it looked cool, and I thought, oh, they're adding a woman to the line. Gotta review it, gotta order it. And I didn't really expect much out of it, honestly, I hate to say. And it's been a little frustrating. This figure was first supposed to ship in June. There were some delays, and then this figure was stuck in pre-shipment for a week before it was actually shipped out. So I was a little annoyed. I wasn't really sure how I was going to feel about this figure when I had it in front of me. I was ready to be completely honest and open like I am in all my reviews. And then I had it in front of me and realized there's no other female wrestling figure in my collection like this Missy Hyatt. And I am so happy and proud to add it to my collection. And that's the thing, I'm not buddies with the Major Pod. I don't even think they know I exist or anything like that. And that allows me to give honest reviews about stuff. And I came into this review ready to be honest, ready to be open, ready to talk about this figure in honest truth. And in honest truth, this figure's freaking cool. Like I said, there's so much quality behind it that the images just don't do it justice. There's so much sculpting work in this figure. You can tell a lot of passion and love went into the sculpting, went into the design, and that's what makes Jazzwares women's figures so special, and that's what makes this figure special, is there was love put behind it. However, we are going to talk about the price point. As I mentioned in the intro, this figure was $49.99. We'll say $50, right? And to be honest with you, I did not think I was going to say this. I really didn't. But to me, it's worth the price. To me, this figure is absolutely worth the price. Now, what it costs to manufacture a big rubber figure, I have no idea. I think $50 is kind of high. I really do. I think that's really high, especially if you consider the LJN WWE line that's coming out is like half the price. But you got to realize they're a much bigger company. Collect Major is much smaller. And in my opinion, I'd rather have this Missy Hyatt for $50 than the 40-something dollars I paid for the Grapplers and Gimmicks Sherry's. Because, yeah, I was honest in that review, was not a big fan, was disappointed. But this figure did not disappoint me. And like I said, you know, I'm very honest about pricing. And as much as I want to say $50 is too high, there's never been a Missy Hyatt figure. And even if there was, it wouldn't have this much love and care put into it. So the price, in my opinion, yeah, I think this figure is absolutely worth it. Do I think the Shotzi that was up for pre-order is worth the same price? Honestly, I do. And that sounds crazy because, like I said, going into this review, I was ready to be honest about it and say $50 for a big rubber figure. But like I said, there's so much love put into this figure. And the quality is great. And it's just so much fun. I am so happy and so excited to add this Missy to my collection. So all I can say is I love this figure and great work by Collect Major. Thanks for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. To get a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews, make sure to hit subscribe to become an official resident of LJV today. Now stay tuned, there are a lot more figure reviews coming to LumberJillville, including some very special exclusive reviews. Thanks for watching, and have a great night, y'all.